there are some scientists who think it's really misleading to even think of the human as a unitary animal rather than a kind of composite creature.
An ecosystem.
Yeah. And most of those bacteria and viruses are not going to be dramatically transformed by a degree or 2 degrees of warming. But there's so many of them. The chances that one could, it's hard to dismiss that. And whether that would mean we'd all immediately go extinct, probably not. But what if that means suddenly schizophrenia increases by 15% because schizophrenia is related to a bacterial infection called Toxoplasma gondii.
Well, that's that cat parasite.
Yeah, exactly.
Schizophrenia is related to that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it like triples your chances of getting schizophrenia.
Wow.
Yeah. And our bodies are so complex, such intricate ecosystems, like you say, that if one little thing gets disturbed, it could have really catastrophic impacts on us. And that's true of the planet as a whole. I think that's one of the big lessons of my book, is that this is such a delicate system. It's been stable for all of human history, and now it's not stable. What that means for how we live, we don't know yet, but the changes will be significant, will be profound. But it's also true of the individual. Our bodies will be living differently in a world that's 2 degrees warmer than they are today. We can't really predict what those impacts will be, but they could be quite dramatic. And they could be things that we can't even imagine today, because there are, by some counts, millions of bacteria inside us that we haven't even identified yet.
Jesus Christ, you're freaking me out, David. God damn it.
It's a crazy world out there.
Well, not just crazy, but it seems like when you're talking about things like this, when you're talking about climate change affecting our actual gut parasites or our gut biome, and that this literally could change the way human beings behave. I mean, these are all things that I've never heard discussed, and it's really terrifying. It really is. And part of the problem is people hearing, they're like, oh, relax, everything's fine. This is this constant thing that we do, where if it's not affecting us currently, right now, in the moment, there's not a fire in front of us, we don't worry about it. It's a weird compartmentalization thing that human beings do.
Yeah, and it's, you'd think that evolution would have trained us differently. You'd think that evolution would have trained us over time to have at least some long-term capacity. And I guess we do have some long-term planning capacity, but it's we choose to think in really short-term ways just about all the time.
Now, you've already freaked me out. How's your book going to freak me out more?
It's every page.
Every page is more of this?
Yeah.
Jesus, man. How do you sleep at night? You okay?
I sleep through compartmentalization and denial too. I'm not. I mentioned earlier, like that. I think it's been a problem for environmentalism for a long time. This kind of holier than thou thing. That's not who I am. I'm not an environmentalist. Until a couple years ago, when I started really worrying about this stuff, I had the same disinclination to take it seriously that most people do. I thought climate change was real. I thought it was something that we need to worry about and deal with. But I thought it was like a small problem that could be dealt with without much change to my life. And I still basically feel that way. I like going on vacations in nature, but I'm not someone who's like spends months hiking the trail or whatever. I've never even had a pet. I don't love animals, But the more I looked at the science, the more I just realized this isn't about affecting some part of nature over there. It's about affecting all of human life, every aspect of human life as it's lived on this planet. And that really terrified me. But even knowing that, even staring at it straight in the face, I still get up in the morning and, whatever, do the same shit. Go to the gym, watch basketball, go to my day job. And I don't think that we should be ashamed of that. I think all of us are going to have different reactions to this story, different perspectives on the crisis, and that's good, that's human. But spreading the word generally, making people a little more alarmed, is going to make people take some more action, and that's what we need. But the like I said before, the psychological biases are so strong that, like, when I imagine my daughter's life, I'm not imagining a hellscape. I'm imagining the world that I grew up in.
Right.
And again, that's not like, that's how everybody relates to the world. And it's just a reminder of how important it is to look really directly at the science, because the world as it exists today is not a good guide to the world that we will be living in a decade or two. There's no way that the climate system as it exists today will be stabilized forever. It will get hotter. all of these things will get worse. Every tick upward of temperature will create more climate suffering somewhere in the world. And if we get to really dramatic levels of warming, that suffering will be basically everywhere. We can't continue orienting our perspective on the future on the world as it is today. We have to take seriously this range of temperatures, 2 degrees to 4 degrees, that we're on track for this century, as a way of generating sufficient activity and response and adapting as we need to. If we keep looking out the window and thinking the world as it is now will continue, we're not going to do anything. And that's what we've done over the last 30 years, which has been catastrophic.
I think that message is really important, and I think that also the message of that we need to change and evolve as a civilization, but as a human being, you need to still enjoy your life, and that it's not oh my God, I need to drop everything I'm doing that leaves any sort of a carbon footprint. It's we need to address it as a civilization.
Yeah, and I mean, if the average American had the carbon footprint of the average European, America's carbon emissions would fall by like 35%. Now, I don't think of like...
What's the difference? What do they do differently?
They drive less. They...
It's weird because they make the best cars.
Yeah, but it's like less territory.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't many people in Europe who like commute an hour and a half to work every day, and that's like not so uncommon in America. Their diet is better carbon-wise, and they have more, they have some more aggressive green energy stuff going on.
How is their diet better carbon-wise?
They waste less food, basically. So like a third of all American food, I think it's a third, is wasted. That's just wasted carbon.
Yeah.
And I think the number of electricity is like 70% of American electricity is wasted because of how bad the grid is. Like it just is so bad at delivering from one source to another. This is one reason why Solar City is so important, because the battery can be a much more efficient transporter of electricity.
Well, there's just no excuse for California. I mean, other than this winter, it's sunny every day.
Yeah. But so if 70% of American electricity is wasted, it's like we're just throwing all that carbon
70%.
away.
Yeah, that's giant.
Yeah. And if we were less wasteful, we'd have, less of a problem on our hands. But we still like order twice as much food as we want and then throw it out. I mean, I do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can understand why someone would say to you, like, what are you doing? But it's that sentiment behind it that's kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're looking for you to be a hypocrite. They're trying to catch you.
Well, when I look at hypocrisy, what I see is like, you want the world to be a better place than you yourself are doing.
Yes.
It's like, that to me, there's a way of, it's like, we think of hypocrisy as like a negative quality. I think it's kind of a positive, it can be a positive quality. You believe we should be behaving in one way collectively. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
just
like,
need to adjust. Like you're saying, not just what everybody needs to do, what you need to do as well. You're being conscious of this need to change.
And like, if someone believes in, say, like better healthcare, we don't ask them to donate all of their money to hospitals. That's what taxation